we just launched a site for Ford of Canada, so it's actually Ford.ca, and it actually takes advantage of this whole idea that consumers trust other consumers more than they trust brands or advertising, and in some respects even more than they trust their own personal past experience. So what this site does is it actually brings in other vibrant communities, like for instance the Yahoo Answers community is brought right to the homepage of that site, and so people can ask questions of the community about what they think of their Ford products, or in terms of this product versus that product, what do you recommend? And it's very unfiltered, and there's product reviews right there, so the co-location of product reviews right next to product is a fairly new and important trend. And then the other piece is there, they've actually created a community around people being able to actually do head-to-head comparisons of vehicles, which is pretty new as well. So you could see a Toyota next to a Ford next to a Honda and make a direct comparison. And the point of all that is that this is what consumer behavior is. This is how people already act online. So why not, facilitate that right on your site? Well, I think that one of the things that's starting to happen now is the emergence of what's called SMPR, or social media PR. And social media PR is basically aggregating all the things that a blogger would need to make a post about your product or your service or your organization in one place. But you're packaging it up in containers that they can make use of. So for instance, all of your videos are uploaded on YouTube and put there. Any photography is there on Flickr. I mean, everything's set up in such a way that they can grab it and put it on their blog very easily, but they also have the opportunity to subscribe to that particular product or service, so that anytime there's a new press release or any new piece of news or information, it ends up automatically being delivered to them in an RSS feed, right to their iGoogle or right to their newsreader or wherever they get that. And I think this is the new PR. I mean, this is in the old days, we prepared our subject matter experts so that when the journalists came around, they had somebody to talk to that had something interesting to say that backed up your claims. Now we actually have to prepare those same subject matter experts to also be distributors, because they now are not just there for contact, they also have their own blogs, and they have their own audiences that creates quite a bit of word of mouth.
Great.
It's an interesting question, and my boss actually asked me to do a little writing exercise to come up with the name of a seminar. What would be a seminar that people would want to attend 2 or 3 years from now? What would it be titled and what would it be about? And what I came back to him with was this whole idea of the marketing trinity, or the new marketing trinity, which is this idea that your product or service has to be good for you, good for me, and good for the world. And that if it's not, by the time somebody actually picks a product up off the shelf, they're going to know what the carbon footprint is, whether or not it has carcinogens in it. They're going to know how people are rating it and what the reviews are. And so I think one of the things that's happening very rapidly is, from a social media point of view, communities have just started to evolve. Sites have just been created that actually bring this to life. You actually have these large databases that tell you what the products are all about. And so the next little piece, all that's waiting now is for you to have a connection to your mobile phone. So while you're there at the point of purchase, you pick that product off the shelf and you're like, wow, I'm not going to put that on my kid, that has carcinogens in it. Or I'm not really sure I like the way that this company invests in companies that are harming the Amazon rainforest or whatever. So I think that it's actually putting a lot more accountability, the social movement that's underneath all the technology, a lot more accountability and a lot more truth. Is kind of coming to light, I think, in the next couple of years that brands are going to have to be ready for.